The self-warping quarantine enforcer unit, more commonly known as the Warper, is 4546b's Terminator. This biomechanical lifeform was created by the architects to relentlessly purge Kharaa from the planet wherever it was found, using teleportation gates to warp itself and other lifeforms to hunt down its prey. Created through a combination of many off-world creatures and genetic material from 4546b's lifeforms, with just a sprinkling of alien technology thrown in for good measure, the Warper is a swimming Frankenstein's monster, made of all the best bits the architects could find to make the most efficient killing machine. Made in the disease research facility in the Lost River, Warpers can be found in waters deeper than 300 meters and a higher number around architect bases. They patrol the planet's waters searching for infected individuals, moving along programmed paths before teleporting back to their starting location to begin their patrols again. The Warper's head is round and flat and contains 4 small bioluminescent purple eyes for hunting its prey, with a circular mouth consisting of a pair of mandibles with 2 large blunt teeth at its centre. To the rear of its head, the Warper has 2 small sacs, the purpose of which is unknown, but these could play a role in the creature's teleportation ability, which is also housed within its head. The Warper's body is covered in a thick purple cloak-like skin, which covers a see-through light blue body, which shows a number of the creature's internal organs. Its body shows signs of heavy genetic modification and large amounts of grafting of mechanical components with biological materials. At their centres, Warpers have a dark purple ribcage-like structure with many bright pink bioluminescent veins feeding into a heart-like centre, although it's possible that this heart is also mechanical. The Warper also has 2 spiked arms cloaked with a transparent blue membrane that can be used for slashing nearby targets. The Warper slowly patrols through the water using its 2 light blue tentacles, with the other 4 purple tentacles simply acting as the tips to its main cloak-like body and not used for movement. While moving, the Warper's upper body remains perfectly still, which causes changes in its movement pattern to happen with a sudden jerk. The Warper runs on an internal battery, allowing for the removal of both the digestive and breathing functions, meaning this hunter will never tire or run out of breath. Their brain and central nervous system has also been augmented for increased processing power, which likely gives them greater capacity for tactical thinking when hunting their prey. This enhanced brain also allows them to use their installed communication systems to make judgment calls and share intelligence with other Warpers, calling for backup where necessary to swarm a target that poses a large threat. These communications can actually be picked up on a radio, allowing you to hear the Warper's mechanical voices.
New targets unaccounted for. 1.
Now, if that isn't enough to give someone nightmares, I don't know what is. Once a call for aid has been received, other Warpers can move into the area using a miniaturized phased teleportation system that was implemented beneath their skin and connected to their central nervous system, allowing them to phase jump themselves and other targets at will. Once engaged in combat, a Warper will fire teleportation orbs at its target. If this orb hits its mark, it will move the target in question towards the Warper in order for it to launch a close range attack with its arms. Should the Warper require more firepower, they are also able to warp in other similar sized creatures, which will then help them in their attacks. The amount of creatures teleported depends on their size, with small creatures such as biters having up to 6 teleported in at once to attack a target, with large creatures such as ampeels only being brought in 1 at a time. The Warper can only teleport creatures that are found in the same biome that it is currently in, and once the Warper is done with these creatures, it's kind enough to teleport them back to where they were taken from. Whoever said ruthless alien enforcers didn't have a heart? Warpers are only hostile to infected creatures, meaning they remain passive to the player in the opening stages of the game. As Riley's infection level increases, the Warpers will become increasingly aggressive and deal more damage in an attempt to stop the disease from spreading. If Riley is using a Seamoth or a prawn suit, the Warper can use its teleportation ability to rip the player out of the vehicle and into the open water where they can be attacked, although their phasing ability is not strong enough to pull a human out of a Cyclops. Aggressive creatures are incredibly hostile towards Warpers and will go out of their way to attack them even when the Warper is not actively hunting them. This is likely a learned behaviour after seeing Warpers killing others of their species that are infected, making the native lifeform see them as a threat. Should the Warper sustain damage in its purging activities, its onboard self-repair systems can patch up minor damage without the need to return to a home base, which is useful as they don't have one to return to. After a sea dragon destroyed the disease research facility, no more Warpers could be constructed, as it was the only place on the planet where they could be made and repaired, leaving an unknown number of warpers active within the crater, which continue their primary function of trying to stamp out the Kharaa bacteria wherever it can be found. Once the main story is complete and Enzyme 42 is released into the ecosystem, warpers will no longer be hostile to Riley as he is no longer infected with the disease. It's unknown what will happen to the warpers once the planet has been completely purged of Kharaa, but it's likely they will continue to look for targets until they are either destroyed by 4546b's lifeforms or their mechanical parts start to wear out. Whoa, it seems like this group of warpers has spotted us. Luckily there's a reef bat nearby to help us get out of here. Grab one of its tentacles and make sure to watch this video next to give you all the info you need to escape. And special thanks to my patron Asmodeus for making this video possible.